family, welcome back to the Flashpoint, a Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to the hit CW show, The Flash. I'm Lilith, and joining me as always is the lovely
Kelly. Hey. Hey.
So yeah, up for discussion today is episode 121, Grodd Lives. It was written by Grain Godfrey and Caillou Wu, who did a phenomenal job, with direction by Dermot Downs, who also did a fantastic job as well. If you want to tell them what happened.
Well, what had happened was
Barry must deal with a Reverse Flash's latest threat to a member of the group. To make matters worse, Dr. Wells unleashes Grodd on the city in order to distract Barry and the team. Joe, Barry, and Cisco head down to the sewers to catch Grodd. Gross. But the gorilla quickly gets the upper hand after he kidnaps Joe. Iris and Barry have a heart-to-heart talk.
Sort of, kind of.
Kind of.
The guest stars this week were Clancy Brown reprised his role as Juno Wade Eiling.
Woohoo!
And we had a wild Patrick Sabonye as Captain David Singh, and David Sobolov played the voice of Grodd, which is weird. I thought it would have been Clancy Brown.
Yeah, you
a
think.
2-for-1 special. Now we can get down to business of the recap. We opened this episode at the precinct with Barry and Joe telling Captain Singh that Eddie's taking some personal days. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
That's
The subversive Iris finds Barry in his lab and tries to give him an opportunity to come clean about his identity by bringing up Eddie's kidnapping. But, Barry continues lying because Joe.
Yeah.
Iris finds her trust in him, both Barry and the Flash, to be waning. Uh-oh. More like her patience. I wouldn't say her trust, but definitely her patience. Back at Star Labs, Barry finds Cisco working on the cameras Wells used to spy on them. They're interrupted by an alert that the city's gold reserve is being robbed. And I'm like, man, there are more robberies in Central City. It's like the town where everybody's just a bank robber.
Well, the odd thing that's been going on here?
What?
There's been dollar store robberies. Now, tell me the logic in that.
You know the economy's bad when the dollar store is getting robbed.
But just kind of weird. Anyway.
Yeah, so Barry suits up and he goes to see what the deal is. And when he arrives, he faces off against a masked man with a gun. But suddenly gets these weird debilitating hallucinations of what appear to be medical experiments. He basically gets a really bad migraine, lays down, and the thief gets away.
That could be a little problem there, yeah.
It's just a little one. Back at Star Labs, Barry is filling Caitlin and Cisco in on what he felt. Straight up debilitating fear. When in walks Iris.
I feel like I'm a hamster.
Being unmasked confirms her suspicions, and then they go off to talk while Cisco and Caitlin eavesdrop. That was Iris tells Barry about the jolt of electricity, and Barry reveals that both Eddie and Joe knew his secret. He also tells her about Wells being the Reverse Flash and the man who killed his mother. But Iris is still hurt by the lies. That's a lot to take in, and when you're mad, you want to have the chance to process and be mad. And for him to kind of dump that on top of her was kind of a D move, man.
Yeah, I kind of get it. I mean, if he's going to tell her, he's going to tell her everything.
Yeah.
And I get that, but yeah, she needed time to process all that, because that was a trip for him. So you can imagine what it is for her after being lied to for, 50
year
years.
And a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
50 years. Well, actually, the Iris in the comic book, she took it a lot better than this Iris, which is why I like TV Iris a lot better than comic book Iris. Not to mention that she's played by the lovely Kate.
Yes.
Meanwhile, in the Reverse Flash's lair, Eddie is tied to a chair and isn't getting many answers out of Wells.
That's
now.
as it should be, isn't it?
I mean, I would want to do that to Eddie for other reasons, but if only he would have just kept a closer eye on him.
Right.
See what else happens after that. Oh, yeah. Joe finds Iris alone at work and apologizes for keeping the secret, saying he was trying to protect her. But Iris is like, no. She doesn't need to be protected. She wants to help.
Which is Joe's worst nightmare.
Yeah. She keeps bringing up the police academy, and I like that. I like that little bit of backstory that she wanted to be just like her dad and help people and be a cop. That's kind of really cool. But unfortunately, this conversation is interrupted by a call from CCPD. Joe joins the transfer of gold from the reserve to protect it, but despite being disguised as an ice cream truck, the masked thief finds them and blows the truck off the road.
All I could think of was Booth shooting the ice cream man off the top of the ice cream truck.
Me too. A fight ensues while Flash runs to the scene and knocks the thief out. Joe unmasks him, and it's revealed that it is none other than General Island. Interesting. They bring Eiling to Star Labs and place him in a metahuman cell, but while he's awake, he seems like he might have stroked out a bit. The team starts to question him, and he begins answering questions in this whole start-stop kind of fashion. He knows Barry's the Flash. He recognizes that Caitlin is good, and he says that Eiling hurt him. So this reveals that the speaker is actually Grodd himself and not Eiling.
It kind of reminded me of the villain in what was his name? Episode 2, the guy that could clone himself.
Oh yeah, Multiplex.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of him. You know, the way Eiling was just kind of standing there staring at first.
Oh, that was a good reveal for the team. I think everybody did a great job. Then we see Caitlin kind of pull up some security footage and then fills in the story about Grodd. And then Cisco concludes that whatever Grodd was injected while being experimented on was likely activated by the particle accelerator. And so since, primates are so close to humans, we now have a gorilla with telepathic power.
I love it.
And then Joe's like, can you believe this Wells guy's just going to unleash Grodd?
Yeah.
Like Joe just basically goes, yeah, I think he did this. And he was right.
Yep.
So we see Iris kind of walk in and helps the team narrow down a location to search. And Joe, Barry, and Cisco head down to the sewers. They come across Grodd's writings on the wall. And then they begin to hear this really creepy noise.
Where were their methane, 5-gas monitors and all their safety equipment at this point?
Are you going to be saying that when Stephen Amell's playing Casey Jones in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Oh, I will. Yeah. you know what could kill you down there in the sewers? Methane, folks. Yeah. Can we say biohazard, folks?
Big time.
You should seriously be wearing a bunny suit when you're down there and wearing gas monitors and eye protection and yeah.
Barry is suddenly overwhelmed by hallucinations again, but this time he falls unconscious. The distraction allows Grodd to take Joe to his lair. Joe draws his gun, but Grodd's telepathy forces Joe to aim the gun at himself before he can throw the gun away. Grodd says his father hates guns. Joe tries to offer Grodd a banana, but apparently Grodd hates banana.
Is Harrison Wells, is Eobard Thawne English then?
I get your reference. It might be.
Why would he hate guns?
I guess they don't have them in the future, probably.
Maybe. Well, they don't have cows in the future either, but he wants a big belly burger. But, he just...
Well, no, it's kind of like Stargate, probably. Like, they're so, you know what I mean? Where when they get attacked by those little things, and the only thing that kills them are the guns. Remember?
Yeah. Okay.
Because they're so evolved, they wouldn't even think to go to violent ends or something like that.
Kind of like Star Trek. They don't even use money because they're too evolved.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Comic book reasons.
Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome.
Cut back to Star Labs, and Cisco and Caitlin are building this headset that let me stress this, think will protect Barry from Grodd's mind control. Iris is very, upset because she thinks maybe they're going to lose Joe, and actually, honestly, so do I for just a brief second. Barry follows her and tells her not to be angry with Joe. Barry didn't have to listen to him after all. Iris agrees, and she's just like, look, we're best friends, but I don't know anymore because you've been hiding so many things. And then he goes, I don't think you were being completely honest with me either. And then that gets cut short, and she just goes, dude, just leave and save my dad. We're not having that conversation right now, Barry. I'm sorry. No. Yeah. In Wells's lair, he tells Eddie that he is the least successful member of the Thawne bloodline.
How nice of him.
There are apparently plenty of influential figures, but Eddie has largely been forgotten. And to add insult to injury, Iris ends up marrying Barry.
I would say that was the injury.
Yes.
The rest was insult.
Star Labs team uses remote control to set off steam and guide Grodd through the sewers to where Barry can use his supersonic punch. Man, they really do need Wells, don't they?
Yeah, the Hawaiian punch, that's just kind of...
However, Grodd catches his hand and throws him aside. The Flash's next attacks are also, like, to no help at all. And Grodd throws him through a wall onto the railroad track. By this point, the headset is broken and Barry is overtaken by Grodd's mental attacks. As the train approaches, Iris inspires Barry to fight back over the radio. I think I can. In the struggle, Grodd is hit by a train and disappears. The Flash uses the distraction to rescue Joe. Again, back at Star Labs, Joe is treated for broken ribs. He and Iris share a sweet moment, and Iris makes him a promise to tell her the truth from now on, and we all agree that's a good damn idea.
Why can't the Lances do that? But anyway.
Meanwhile, Ealing has regained consciousness and Barry releases him from the pipeline. Ealing reveals that he knows Barry is the Flash but won't target him. Ealing says they have a common enemy in Wells and leaves to hunt Grodd.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Sometimes.
That actually never ever turned out good. As we see in the very next episode. Barry, Caitlin, and Cisco recognize the good work that they did without Wells, but it was the four of them when you include Iris. Later, Barry finds Iris on her roof spot and tells her that she gave him the strength to face Grodd. Iris acknowledges that she may have feelings for Barry, but she won't do anything while Eddie, the man she lives with and loves, is missing, and Barry promises to bring him back. Oh boy. We'll get to that in the finale. But elsewhere, Grodd rises. Then our cut, Wells pulls out a colorful vial and calls it the key, but doesn't elaborate. Then climbs into the corridor and uses the key to open something. Lights turn on, and Wells says that it's time to go home. All right, what would you give this as a grade?
I enjoyed this episode a lot, actually. I kind of wish Iris was mad a little longer.
We said that. We called it. It's going to be one episode, and then we have so much stuff to deal with that it's time to move on.
Yeah. But, yeah, in real life, she would have been angry for a lot longer than that. But the episode was entertaining. And we dealt with a lot of stuff. And the elephant is finally, out in the room, which is nice.
The gorilla.
Yes, the gorilla. No monkeying around. And
yes, Punny Business makes a return.
So would you give this one a grade ape?
Yes, I would. Actually, it's more of a solid B for me. This is kind of a weird, best thing that Arrow did for season 1, and I kind of into season 2 as well, is that the last couple of episodes really just literally they all cliffhang right into the finale, and I was expecting that for the Flash, and for me, the end game plot had slowed down, but I did have fun. There were some great emotional moments in this, but I can't give it an A. It's a solid.
Gotcha.
All right.
Well, looking back, I kind of wonder if the whole, there were hints here, but it wasn't as obvious as the whole Arrow thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's little tiny hints, and they're leading up to the confrontation, but it wasn't as, especially season 2 of Arrow, where it was
yes,
Slade is coming for you, and he's got to get his team and all that stuff together. That was just, one of those nonstop finales.
Yes.
That's all that I was expecting. That's the one thing that I will say up until season 3, Arrow did phenomenally. Were season finales and how it built up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Best scene?
I really liked where, the spark of electricity between Iris and Barry, and that whole thing where he tells her, he's gonna get Eddie back, and Iris kind of figures it out, that little spark of reality. She finally figures it, and then he's gone.
I think my favorite scene had to be where Caitlin's talking to Barry after all said and done, and they're talking about how big they about Wells, and Caitlin goes, "Yeah, the 4 of us." And goes, "The 4 of us?" And she goes, "Yeah, she was a big help." And I'm like, Caitlin's a West Ellen shipper. I'm sorry, you Snowberry shippers. I just can't help myself. I'm a Flash comic book girl, and Iris and Barry need to be engaged. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Favorite line?
Trying to think.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Well, of course, Wells had the zinger about in the thing with Eddie.
Yeah. Oh, I know. If I hadn't seen Cisco, if I hadn't seen Jurassic Park, I wouldn't be nearly as frightened as I am right now.
Yes. That one was funny. And I keep seeing those trailers for Jurassic World, and I think of him every time I see them.
Yep. Oh, and then the other one was also from Cisco. No. Barry says, "What is Grodd?" That's another one that was in this episode. And then Cisco goes, "Huh? Widen through miles of rats, roaches, and human excrement? Count me out." Joe glares at him. "Count me in." "Joe, it's your monkey." Joe and Cisco, man. That's right up there with Joe and Barry for me at this point.
They are a riot.
So yeah, that's about all that I want to talk about. I guess it's time for. We don't really have to talk about conspiracy theories because it's the end of the season and we are kind of late, so we can just jump right into shameless plugs and stuff.
Sorry, guys, life kind of happened.
It was worth it though. Did you guys hear the John Wesley Shipp interview?
Because it was awesome. Well, that my dad had a little accident, and so I was kind of out of commission for a little bit, guys. So
she's back in the throw. We have the whole summer for her to make it up to us, guys.
That's right. Well, and that John Wesley Shipp interview should go a little ways towards making it up to y'all, right? Just a little.
So where can they find you on your social media?
Oh, goodness. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and just about everywhere else that matters at SuperSquint. That's SuperSquint. You can read me over at voiceoftv.com. And, of course, you can listen to me on Before the Bat and Queen Consolidated with the lovely Miss Lilith.
As for me, you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. I'm on Tumblr still, lilithfairyhellfire.tumblr.com. Oh, check out my blog, littlepopculturevulture.blogspot.com. And actually, right now, our Facebook is live. All you have to do is type in the Flashpoint podcast. It should pop right up for you. We just started. We're trying to get to 25 likes so we can actually just have, facebook.com/the Flashpoint podcast. So if you could just like that to at least to 25, that would be great, guys.
We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we really would. Also, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to help us climb up the charts and find other members of the Flash, help the other members of Flash family find us. And finally, please be sure to check out www.southgatemediagroup.com. That is our network of podcasts where you can find blogs, the whole list of 80 plus podcasts, and tons of really cool blogs to read.
For all your podcasting needs.
It really is. We have everything, anime to Star Wars, and everything in between. So definitely large variety. So that is just about all we have. It'll be literally the next episode before you know it.
And we'll be back in a flash.